Good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. So, my name is Tiffany Hart, and I am the Industry Engagement and Communications Coordinator for TIANS. And welcome to Webinar Wednesday session, Facebook for Tourism Operators. TIANS is pleased to present this webinar series as part of the Nova Scotia Technology Project, an initiative delivered to industry in partnership with the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency. In addition to the webinars, the Technology Project offers tailored mentoring support, various workshops, and facilitates connection to resources to help tourism businesses enhance their digital competitiveness. If you are interested in a mentoring session or following up support, please let me know at any time. Social media expert Ross Simmonds will be providing your webinar today. Ross has a wealth of experience in working with a range of businesses and organizations to help enhance their online presence. Using his ideas and approaches, you can build engagement and business activity by using relevant social media channels for your own operation. Today's session is focused on how to leverage your Facebook business page. As with our earlier webinars, today's event will be recorded for future viewing on the TIANS YouTube channel. And you can find a direct link to these on our TIANS Facebook page or on tians.org. And now I'll hand it over to Ross. Enjoy the webinar, and don't forget to post your questions in the question box for the Q&A at the end of the session. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot, Tiffany. Much appreciated. That was a great intro. Hi, everyone. Welcome back for our third installment of Webinar Wednesday. Feel free to use the hashtag TourismWW throughout the session, just to let everyone know what's going on this side of the computer, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Today we're going to be talking about Facebook marketing. I'm sure all of you are familiar with Facebook. If you're not familiar with Facebook, welcome to the to the latest and greatest social network that you probably should have known about 4 years ago. Facebook is definitely changing and has changed the world as a whole. And what we're looking to do today is just talk about how you, as a tourism operator or as a business as a whole, can really unlock the power of Facebook to drive meaningful and measurable results. A lot of social media gurus get all excited talking about the power of generating likes, generating comments, but at the end of the day, we're a business and you're in business. So what it really matters isn't about the likes, it isn't about the comments, it's not about the shares. It's about driving meaningful and measurable results that actually impact the bottom line. During this webinar, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about how you can use social media to kind of drive traffic to your site. We're going to talk about how you can use social media from a Facebook perspective to develop conversations with your clients, potential customers. And we're going to talk about a few stats and figures to kind of debunk some of the myths surrounding Facebook and really give you a good understanding of how you can use Facebook to, again, drive meaningful and measurable results. If this is your first webinar through the TIANS and NSTA initiative, I'll give you a quick rundown on some of the stuff that we do have in store in the coming weeks. On March 25th, we'll be back in full action running a Twitter marketing webinar. So we'll be talking about Twitter. If you're familiar with Twitter, again, very similar to Facebook, it's changed the way that we interact with the media, the way that we interact with each other, and especially the way that brands interact with their customers. And then on April 1st, we're going to be talking about some of those new networks that are making the waves of TechCrunch and some of those media outlets that I'm sure you've heard buzzing around. Things like Instagram, channels like Snapchat. We're even going to talk about Pinterest a little bit. So when you think about those channels, that's just that's a great session that you should definitely check out if you're trying to look at how you can tap into this new age of social media and some of these new platforms that are definitely changing the game. To give you a little bit of background on what we've already covered, the first thing that we discussed was the world that we live in today. The world we live in today is filled with noise. There's 3.6 billion pieces of content shared every single week on Facebook alone. When you think about those numbers, when you think about how significant that is, the challenge that we have as marketers, as business owners, isn't creating content. The challenge that we have is going to be standing out in all of this noise. We talked about how the internet is where the travel search begins. So when somebody's planning their destination, where they're planning where they're going to stay, where they're going to eat, what experiences they're going to take in when they go somewhere, it all starts online. Whether you look at the stats surrounding leisure travel, whether you look at business travel, average search begins online. People are using social networks to gather inspiration, to find ideas of where they should stay. They're using social networks to ask for reviews from their friends, their family members. And they're using Google to find very specific information around whether or not this place is somewhere that they would actually enjoy. So we recognize that with all of this, there's two things going on. One, there's a lot of content out there, and we need to stand out in that content amongst that noise and amongst all of these stories being distributed. And third, we know that the buyers, the people who want your products, want your services, are going to Google, and they're going to TripAdvisor, they're going to Facebook, they're looking for recommendations online, and that the search really begins at the computer. So what we need to do is we need to think about, okay, how can we get there? And in our last session, we talked about content as a whole. We talked about how the importance of creating content that was either remarkable or compelling. We talked about the idea that if you can create content on your website, you'll be able to drive traffic on a regular basis that is relevant, that is timely, and people that are engaged. You're going to get those people who are searching for restaurants in Cape Breton when they go to Google if you create a blog post that includes those keywords. We talked about if you create a blog post about cafes in Truro, you're going to show up on Google because you've created that piece of content. So those are some of the things that we talked about in the earlier session. And then from there, we started to talk about how when you start to create this content and you're building up a community around it, people start to kind of come in and talk for you. So if somebody does go on your blog and they're pushing out a negative comment about your brand, about your product, what happens, because you've added so much value through the content that you're developing by providing and offering real authentic relationships, you start to establish a community. And when that community happens, people come up to bat for you. So if somebody's trolling you, if somebody's saying negative things, the rest of the community will end up taking care of themselves. And that's one of the benefits that blogging also has when you look at Facebook. Because when you get on Facebook, you're really opening yourself up to be interacting with the rest of the world. You're opening yourself up to be engaged and interact on a regular basis with people from all walks of life. And oftentimes you're going to have a negative comment here or there. But if you follow through some of the things that we're going to talk about today, as well as some of the things that we talked about in the classes earlier this month, you're going to quickly realize that the community that you establish is going to have your back. The community that you establish are going to fight those battles for you. So we talked about a lot of different types of content. We talked about BuzzFeed style articles that you can write and create as a tourism operator. We talked about all of those different things. And then the question became simple. When you start having all of this content, when you've developed all of this content, what do you do with it? Where do you send this content? Where do you send these stories? And it's clear that the place that you would want to distribute this content is where your audience is, where your customers are, where they're spending the most time. And one of those channels happens to be Facebook. So before we dive into really talking about some of the tactics that you can use to unlock the power of Facebook, let's talk about some of the myths. Because a lot of people ask me, Ross, is Facebook dying? Is it on its way out? All of the young kids are no longer using Facebook. They're starting to no longer interested. And people start panicking when they start to see that in 2013, they had a drop between the ages of 16 and 24-year-olds of 0.5%. Now, everybody started freaking out. Everybody was going crazy. But when you look at that number, it's 0.5%. Facebook still runs the web. Facebook still runs social media. They are still the largest network. They are still the most engaged network. We can think what's going to be the next Facebook as much as we want. But right now, and tomorrow, and the day after, and the week after, the month after, Facebook is still king. Facebook is still going to be the number one social media site, period, for a very long time. Why? Because 84% of all internet users between the age of 18 and 29, 84%, guys, 84%, that's crazy, are using Facebook on an active basis. That is crazy. 84% of them are using it. You know how much work it would take for somebody to be able to remove 84% of the entire internet population within the states off of Facebook? You would need to create some type of catastrophe to allow for that to happen overnight. It's not going anywhere overnight. 79% of internet users between the age of 30 and 49 are using it. The only channel that has less than half of their internet population using Facebook are people above the age of 65. Above the age of 65. Um, and that's understandable because if you look at this from a statistics perspective, 65 plus is going to have more people in it than 50 to 64 because there's only going to be 15 people in that range. But that's all. If we wanted to geek out on the math on that for a while, that would be a whole different story. So I won't get into that because somebody who's 95 probably isn't going to be using Facebook, but I digress. Anyways, at the end of the day, guys, Facebook isn't dying. Facebook isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And we need to recognize that because that's the reality. The reality is that the majority of people are still using Facebook more than any other channel, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, people are also spending a lot of time on Facebook, more time on Facebook than any other channel. The average time spent on social media sites in comparison per month, Facebook has 405 minutes. Tumblr, 89 minutes, Twitter, 21 minutes. And the reason why people are spending so much time on Facebook versus Twitter is because people on Facebook really get lost in that experience. They're looking at baby photos, they're sharing cat photos. Because Facebook now even has videos, people are consuming that long form content as well. So when it comes down to it, Facebook is still here to stay. It's not going anywhere. In 2014 alone, 890 million people used Facebook daily. Daily, 890 people every single day logged into Facebook and interacted, whether they were commenting, whether they were sharing, whether they were just creeping on their exes, whatever that may be. They were using Facebook on a regular basis, 890 people. And what's also interesting about this, and I'm not going to say that Facebook doesn't have some reasons to be concerned, but if you look at the US and Canada market, in terms of in comparison to the rest of the world, it's very much a flat line. Like the growth isn't increasing on a rapid basis. But the reason why is because it goes back to that stat that I mentioned before. They have 84% of the 18 to 29-year-old demographic. Of course, it's not going to be a rapid growth anymore. If you looked at the numbers between 2008 and 2011, then you're talking about some exponential growth. But now the growth is going to be a little bit slower because everybody's already there. One interesting piece that a lot of people, I think specifically in the tourism industry, that people need to understand is that video is becoming huge on Facebook. I would predict that in 2016, Facebook becomes one of the, if not it already is, it will be able to say that it's competing with YouTube as it relates to video content. There are 3 billion video views per day on average on Facebook. That's unique video content being uploaded and shared and distributed on Facebook alone. So as an operator, as a business, think about what types of video content you can put out there, what type of video content you can distribute, because people are using Facebook to consume content in video form. So if you can create those compelling videos, whether it's a testimonial from somebody who reviewed your place, whether it's a video of yourself doing a tour, whether it's the actual experience that someone would have, or behind the scenes look at your kitchen, whatever that may be, people want that type of content. So if you can distribute that and you can develop it, it's a great opportunity for you to connect with your audience in a meaningful way. So let's talk about Facebook. Let's talk about really kind of how you can unlock the power of Facebook. So this is what your profile would look like. You would have a Facebook timeline. When you look at your timeline, there's a few things that you need to consider. The first thing that you need to consider is your cover photo, which is that big image in the background there. You want to ensure that that photo is something compelling that is captivating. You want to ensure that the photo that you have back there is something that's engaging. A lot of people will upload a low-res photo that they took back in 1999 and think that it's okay. Now, if you're archives in Nova Scotia, then sure, that's fine. But if you're a restaurant, or if you're a cafe, or if you're a bed and breakfast, you want to ensure that that background photo is something that's compelling, something that's going to entice me to want to experience your hotel. What you want to also consider is this profile picture that you have on the left. So you can see here with the Drake Hotel, they simply have the Drake, real Chicago. Very simple, very simplistic, very much to the point. And that's exactly what you want. You want a profile picture that is very distinguishable. A lot of people will upload profile pictures that are a scenic. So it'll be a picture of a flower in their garden, or it'll be a picture of their backyard, a picture of their actual bed and breakfast. Those things are great, but they're not the best. The best approach is to create something that is iconic, a logo of some sort, some type of word mark that represents you as an organization. And I'll show you why very shortly. The next piece to recognize is likes. So this is when somebody goes to your Facebook page and they select the like button. It's really important that you understand that likes are when somebody, it's a difference, there's a difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook profile. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are active on Facebook, but you might have one of two different things. If your organization doesn't get likes, meaning people have to add your company, your brand, your organization, your company on Facebook as a friend, then you've created the wrong account. You need to create a business page, not a profile. Me as Ross Simmonds, I have a Facebook profile because I'm an individual, so people can become my friend. But companies, organizations like Apple, like the Drake Hotel, like Tim Hortons, all of these companies have pages, meaning that people have to like them. That's what you should have. You should have a page that requires people to like you, not add you as a friend. So why is it important to have an iconic image? The reason why iconic images are important is because when you go on Facebook and you're scrolling through your newsfeed, you're going to see things like this. You're going to see that this person has liked the Book Facebook page. That icon, that logo itself, is what people are going to see. So you want to ensure that that's something that is easy to identify and also easy to remember. So if 2F by C's logo is constantly showing up on my newsfeed, I'm going to stop reading this word here. I'm just going to look for that icon, 2F by C. I'm going to stop looking for what their name is, and I'm going to just use their image as an indicator of whether or not I should be watching their content. So it's important that you have an iconic photo, but you also want to consider what's going in that cover photo. You don't want to have a cover photo that is blank, because if it's blank, then nothing's going to show up there. And this is some quality real estate. You can use this real estate to promote voting for yourself. You can have this real estate used to promote a special that you may have. Use that real estate as much as you can to tell your story in a meaningful and compelling way. So how can you drive results from Facebook? The first step as a whole is to build your following. You want to get people to like you. As much as likes don't necessarily have a direct correlation to sales, they are something that matter. They matter because if somebody likes your page, it means that they're subscribing to your content, meaning that they are saying, yes, it's okay for your content to show up in my newsfeed. I want your content to show up in my newsfeed. So you want to build your following. So how can you do it? There's a few different ways. We're going to talk about those. The first thing I need to warn you is immediately. I know a lot of people have fallen into this trap, and I'm strongly recommending right now that you don't fall into it. Do not just press promote posts. I think it oftentimes also says boost posts. They're going through a testing phase where they're trying to actually see which one will drive more money for them, and it doesn't necessarily help you. So one of the biggest mistakes that people do is they'll go on Facebook and they'll put up a nice status and they'll say, I want to promote this post. I want to get this in front of people. Facebook has this automatically generated within their page where it will say on that post, do you want to boost this post? Never, ever select just boost that post and give a maximum budget of $10, $5, $30. Don't make that mistake. The reason why it's a mistake is because it is not targeted when you do that. When you press boost post, they're going to show this ad to 2.38K people, so 2,000 and some people. But those people are going to be from all over the world. They might be from Kazakhstan. They might be from Croatia. They might be from Jamaica, Bermuda, Bahamas. They could be from all over the world. That's not who you want to target. You want to target people who are very specifically interested in what you're offering. This ad could go up to a 12-year-old. This ad could go up to a 98-year-old. It could go out to anyone, everyone, because they just want people to see this content who are going to like it. They just want to get those click-throughs. They want to be able to say, this post hit a lot of people. You have to pay for it now. Thanks. You see a bunch of people liking it. You see numbers like this where it says 19,000 people saw it, but you might not have any conversion. And the reason why is because those 19,000 people weren't relevant. They were not relevant to you. So don't make that mistake. Instead, what you need to do is you need to use Ad Manager. So to use Facebook Ad Manager, when you're on Facebook, you simply go to the top and you type in Ads Manager. When you get into there, you're going to have a variety of different options of the types of ads that you can run and the types of ads you can use. You can send people directly to your website. What that does is it's simple. It's as simple as that. It gives you an ad that is solely focused on driving traffic to your website. Increasing conversion on your website. So this is when you want to get a little bit more technical, but you would have code on your website that tracks what people are doing when they're there. So let's say, for example, you're a hotel. You run an ad that wants to increase conversions on your website. What you're able to do through Facebook is you would get a piece of code, and in that piece of code, you would install it on your actual website. So when somebody clicks book now, or if somebody goes through that buying process, that Facebook tracks whether or not they were involved with that. And that's what you're paying for. It's definitely worth doing, but it's not easy to do. The next one is boost your posts. So if you put up a post, and I'm going to talk about some examples of posts that were boosted and why it's important to do this. If you boost your post, it's another great way to get your story out there, to get your message out there. Let's say you put up a photo of a nice steak that your restaurant created. You put up this picture, it has 20 likes. 4 of those likes are from your own family. 3 of those likes are from loyal customers. You want to get it out there to more people. You get that out to more people by boosting your posts. And then there's promote your page. Promoting your page is really when you want to just drive likes. So you want to get more people liking your Facebook page. And that's really important. I mean, it's important because if people are liking your page, every time someone presses that like button, it's going to show up to their friends. So let's say, for example, I liked the Tim Hortons Facebook page. I press like. I've got 800 friends on Facebook. Those 800 friends have the opportunity to see on their newsfeed Ross Simmonds just like Tim Hortons on Facebook. That's where the power lies, because people are more likely to like something if their friends like something. So if you are able to generate those likes and people are liking your page, they're going to see that and they're going to be more likely to like it as well. Then there's things like get installs on your app, increase engagement on your app. None of those are really that relevant to probably anyone on this call. And then there's raise attendance for your event. So if you are hosting an event, maybe it's your 20th anniversary, maybe it's your 5th anniversary, then you would look at an ad like that. There's also offers within Facebook where you can give discounts. It's sort of like taking that Groupon model and just flipping it upside down on its head, so you actually control the offer itself. And then there's video views. So if you do upload a video, you can optimize ads that solely focus on driving views. So those are the different types of ads that you can run. What I'm saying in a nutshell is don't make the mistake of just pressing boost your post. I'm saying go into Ads Manager, because once you select one of these, you're able to be very specific in terms of your targeting. You're able to say, I want to target people between this age. You're able to say that I want to target people who are from New Glasgow. You can be so specific that you can say you want to target people from New Brunswick, from Dartmouth, within 5-kilometer radius. You can be very specific in how you target people. You're also able to target people based off of things like their relationship status. If you ever want to play around with it and you change your relationship status from single to engaged, or from in a relationship to engaged, you'll watch all of the ads on your Facebook change from being things about bars and movies that you should watch to being things about your honeymoon. It's really crazy and it's interesting to watch. Your friends might freak out, but it's always worth it for science. So the reason why fans are valuable, and the value that comes from the biggest value that comes from fans comes from when they like your page. Because when somebody likes your page, they start to see things like this show up. Ads with friends. My friend likes this brand. And when you start to see that type of content, when you start to see that your friends have liked something, like I was saying before, you're more likely to like the content as well on your own. So you want to look at that as a huge opportunity for where you can engage and interact with people who are you could, as an opportunity where you can say, okay, if our brand is getting more likes, then more people are going to like us as well, because they're going to follow their friends. They're going to follow what the people are doing that they're connected with. So there's also a benefit in Facebook ads, because they found that through a study that there's 160% lift in brand recall. So people are more likely to remember an ad or a promotion that they've seen on Facebook in comparison to other things. There's also a 400% lift in purchase intent. So what these stats are telling you is it's pretty simple. It's telling you that with Facebook, with these types of promotions, people are more likely to buy. People are more likely to engage. So this is an ad on the right-hand side that I saw last week. It's just from Fiverr. So they're targeting me because they know that I follow a variety of different marketing blogs. They know that I'm following a lot of business blogs. So they're giving me this ad saying custom logos and designs for $5. This is very targeted. So they know exactly who I am, what I'm all about, and they're able to target me based off of that. The way that they do it is they're able to say, when they use Facebook Ads Manager, I want to target people who also like Inc.com or entrepreneur.com. So again, you can be very specific in who you're targeting. What you're also able to do with Facebook is you're able to target people using this thing called remarketing. So what remarketing is, it's when people visit your site and you cookie them. So a cookie is this little piece of code that sticks in your browser. So you could consider it sort of like a leech. Once you visit a website, this little cookie, this leech, attaches to your browser. And then when you leave this site and you go back to Facebook, they're going to show you ads for their site. So 3 hours before I was on Facebook and I saw that ad, I was on Fiverr.com. I was actually on their site. So for them, what that's doing is it's saying, okay, this person had a little bit of interest in me. They might not have actually bought, but let's show them our ads so we can get them later on. And this is something that all of you can set up, that all of you could do. It's a great resource, great opportunity to kind of get those people who are going down the funnel but may not have purchased. So if somebody's going down the path to purchase, they almost buy, they're so close, and then they leave, you can target them using remarketing platforms through Facebook. You also want to get likes by actually telling people to like you. I know it sounds simple, it sounds very straightforward, and it really is. It's as easy as that. If you tell people to like you, they're more likely to tell you, to actually do it. Sorry. And the reality is, when you do it offline, so when you're doing it face to face, in person, with somebody on a one-to-one basis, they're also more likely to do it, because today more people than ever before have mobile devices. So if they're sitting there and they're at your restaurant and they see a billboard, they see a little sign on the wall that simply says, follow us on Facebook, they'll be more likely to actually go through that process and actually do what you're asking them to do, because they have their mobile phones in hand. Facebook offers stickers now. So if you go and you actually do start to spend some ad money on Facebook, they will send you these stickers where you can actually put them up in your windows and just tell people to like you. And when you do that, people will actually like you. But why would you like a brand on Facebook? There's 5 reasons that most people like brands on Facebook. This is an older stat, but it's still very much true and relevant today. The reality is this: people follow brands to receive discounts and promotions, to show support of businesses, to stay informed about brands, to get a freebie or a sample, to get updates on sales and discounts, all of these different things. And I know at first it sounds like, wow, all of these people are just liking us because they want freebies, because they want discounts, because they want promotions. Yeah, that's easy to fall into that trap of believing. But look at number 2 and number 3: to show support of the business and to stay informed about a brand. That's where you need to focus. That's where you need to say, okay, this is where we have an opportunity to really build a meaningful relationship with potential customers or existing customers. That's where you have that opportunity. Sure, discounts and promotions are fine. Let's not kid ourselves. As much as we're in business and we operate businesses, we manage Facebook pages, all of that stuff, we're still human, and everybody likes a discount. Everybody likes a promotion. So feel free to say, yes, okay, we're going to run a promotion, because you know your customers want it, just like you do. So don't be afraid to have a promotion. The one thing I would say, if you're going to run a promotion, you're going to run a contest of some sort. make sure that you're actually giving away something that is relevant. If you're running a bed and breakfast in Yarmouth and you started a promotion that says we're giving away one of the new Apple Watches, anybody is going to like your page for an Apple Watch. Everyone and anyone is going to share a picture for an Apple Watch. Everyone is going to comment for an Apple Watch. People are going to do anything for an Apple Watch. Those people who are interacting with it are just contest junkies. Anybody is going to do it for an Apple Watch. You want to ensure that the products that you're giving away for your promotions, for your contests, are very much specific and relevant to you. So a few years ago, I won a contest where on Twitter, I retweeted a post from Susie Shortbreads, and they gave me a year supply of cupcakes. I gained like 10 pounds that year, but the prize was very specific to them. So I was going to my meetings and I was bringing cupcakes, which was allowing them to have the word spread. I was going to events bringing cupcakes. I had everybody's birthday that they had. I had cupcakes. I was the cupcake man, essentially. And it was because they gave away something that was relevant that it actually had a trickle down effect, because I was talking about it. I was spreading the word. And I wasn't talking about my Apple Watch that I received. I was talking about cupcakes, which is their core business. So you need to be thinking in that vein. You need to be thinking along that path when you're talking about promotions and discounts. But let's talk about the type of content that allows people to show support of a brand or stay informed about a brand. That's really where the biggest benefit from Facebook comes in. It's when you're able to build a community because the content that you're distributing, that you're developing, really resonates with them on a human level. And we're going to talk about some of those different types of content. We're going to talk about what that can do for a business. And we're also going to talk about some examples and some quick and easy wins that you guys can use to do all of that. So now that we understand how we can get those people to like us, the question is, what do we do next? Once we've gotten those likes, once we've run a few promotions, once we've had ads running and people are starting to like us, how can we get them engaged? How can we get the 30,000 likes like this post from Disneyland? How can we get the 124 comments like this post from Starbucks? For me, it goes back to that concept we talked about last week about engaging content, educational content, or entertaining content. Before you put up any type of post, if it doesn't fall into that one of those three categories, it's probably not worth publishing. You need to create content that educates, that entertains, or engages your audience. And then from there, it's time to activate them. It's time to really inspire them and get them to share your content, to comment on your content. That's what is next. You need to have people interact and engage with your post, because if no one's interacting with it, no one's engaged, no one's really caring, then you're missing out on the key value that Facebook delivers to brands. What I want to talk about is the power of visual storytelling. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because Facebook over the past little bit has become more and more of a visual place than it is a written text place. A month after they introduced Timeline, they've seen a significant increase in the amount of content engagement, meaning the most recent update, I know Facebook changes their layout every other week, their most recent update drove a significant increase in the amount of times that people would like a photo, watch a video, share a photo, all of those types of things. And the reason why is because photos and images have more clout on Facebook today. Facebook is intentionally distributing content that is rich from a visual standpoint to their audience more than ever before. And because of that, they went out and bought Instagram. So if there's any sign or any indication of what's to come, I mean, you need to recognize that visuals is really the future when it comes to Facebook. Facebook is very much looking for brands who are going to provide them with rich photography. They're looking for companies who are taking photos, investing in photos, and putting up images that are really compelling and captivating. So it's important that that's where your head's at, that you're thinking about, okay, how can we create images that are compelling, that are unique, that are worth sharing? These are two examples of visual marketing done right. If you look at the one on the left, 5 o'clock is calling. So Buffalo Wild Wings, they put up this post in February, and it simply says, share this if you're answering the call, because 5 o'clock is calling. It's a very captivating image, very clear around what it's trying to tell you. It's saying it's almost 5, so you could go get a beer. And then on the right-hand side, it's very straightforward, again, but it also has a call to action. A call to action is when you tell people to do something. So share this is a call to action. Like this is a call to action. Buffalo Wild Wings, they say, we're going to post a beer photo now and you're going to like it. By them simply saying you're going to like it resulted in 10,000 people liking that photo, liking that post. So you need to unlock the power of call to actions when you're thinking about using visual marketing. Another great example is a local story, Humanity Cafe. So they use rich visuals every single year with this mini ag gelato thing. I've seen it for the past 3 years straight. They take a photo, they put up a text, and this thing goes viral every single year, right around Easter time. So you can see this one on its own. It has 150 shares, nearly 900 likes on Facebook. And it's because of two things. One, they boosted this post using very localized targeting. So they targeted people who were local. They targeted people who they knew would be able to walk into Humanity and buy this. And they were able to put this story in front of people. It's very captivating. You look at this, you're probably drooling, you're hungry, you're saying, why am I on this whole 30 diet? I want to eat this gelato. And the reason that this goes viral is because it's a rich photo, because it's very compelling. I was talking to these guys. I messaged them asking them what type of success they got. And they told me they do it every single year because it gets people in the door. It keeps people coming in constantly, and it builds their image around the idea that this is something that they own and that they are one of the only ones doing. It's the third year. Every year that they've done it, it blows up. And as you can see in the comments here, people want it. People are buying it. Somebody, Michelle Denise, asked, does it come in a 2 liter? And they're right there responding. Actually, yes, you can order a whole batch, 5.5 liters, or a half a batch. So they're making sales because they're able to boost posts with this type of rich content and engagement. Another thing to consider when you're talking about Facebook is the power of reactive storytelling. We talked about this over the course of these webinars around the power of leveraging things that are going on in the news. So in every single year on Pi Day, on March 14th, people put up these posts that say 314 because that's pi. The Lakers put up this post celebrating something constant. Happy Pi Day, go Lakers. It got 2,000 shares. That's a reactive storytelling. They're taking something that they know is relevant, that is timely, and they're talking about it on their social media channels. So for you, when you're thinking about what kind of content can you distribute, what type of content can you use to drive conversation quickly, think about what's going on in the media, think about things that are going on around you, and talk about those different items. So the dress, for example, when the dress goes viral, you want to put up a picture of your bed sheets, and maybe the bed sheets are white and gold, but you have a comment that just says, does anyone else see black and blue? Something as simple as that could drive conversation. One other type of content that always gets a lot of engagement is inspirational content. You can see these two posts, one's from Dove, one's from Stella and Dot, and this content is frequently being streamed on social media. I'm sure you see it on a regular basis. You see content that is inspiring, content that is worth sharing, that makes you feel good. And we talked about this before as well. Content that makes people happy, content that makes people feel good about themselves and empowered and inspired is the type of content that goes viral on social more often than not. Nobody wants to be a Debbie Downer. I hope nobody's name is Debbie on here. But yeah, nobody wants to be Debbie Downer. We're okay with Debbies, just not Debbie Downers. Because what those people are is they're just spreading sadness. So people want to engage with people who are happy, people who are positive. That's the type of content that your brand needs to be distributing. So don't be afraid to use inspirational quotes. And I'm sure some of you are saying, oh, that's so cheesy. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. It ain't easy being cheesy, but it works. It works. When you use content that inspires people, that motivates them, it works. And this is backed by science. Like there was a study actually done by the Wharton Business School that actually demonstrated that happiness, exhilaration, hilarity, and amusement were some of the most powerful content to drive shares, to get people to share something. Now, when you look at this, don't get me wrong, the number one driver is anger. But as a brand, you probably don't want to get people too angry. That's not probably a place that you want to play in. But you do want to play in the place of happiness. You want to play in the place of surprise, of hilarity. That's where you want to be focused on. You don't want to be focused on those negative things. You want to be focused on those feelings of exhilaration and inspiration as a whole. So positive emotions that work are simply as humor, motivation, and exhilaration. Negative emotions at work would be anger and sadness. So you want to be focused more on those positive emotions. Negative emotions, when you talk about anger and sadness, you're talking about videos like the Coney 2012. You're talking about photos of people who have gone through traumatic experiences. And that's not really where your brand wants to play. Your brand wants to play in those top three. It wants to play in the humor world, the motivation world, exhilaration, those kinds of things in terms of the type of content that you really should be distributing and developing. So let's talk about a few other pro tips. These are some quick and easy ones that you can use depending on your organization. But people like recipes. Recipes always go viral, constantly are something that people want to share. And if you can break it out into a very visual way, like you see with this Oreo post, again, people will interact with it. As a whole, people really like those do-it-yourself hacks. So life hacks, things that are that people can actually apply to their life. They believe that that's adding value to them. And people want to follow brands that add value to their life. So if you can provide me with hacks on how to keep my house warm in the winter or how to avoid potholes when I'm driving through downtown, I'm going to share that post. I'm going to engage with that post. I'm going to comment on it because you're providing me with value. You're answering a problem that I have. So you want to be looking for these types of things. You want to provide someone with a post, for example. Don't forget that you can share your blog content on Facebook as well. Maybe you wrote a blog post and it's 4 things you can do this Valentine's Day to stay out of the doghouse. Maybe you create that post and it's linking back to your blog, and on your blog, you have one of the mentions is stay at your hotel or go to your restaurant. Maybe that's one of those items within it. When you share that post on Facebook, you want to include an image that is showing those 4 steps. So those 4 things could show clearly in an image being distributed on your Facebook page. Share your blog posts, exactly what I was just mentioning. This post from Nova Scotia Tourism, they put up, it's one of their own blog posts. Don't be afraid to use Facebook as a channel to distribute your own content. If you're being written about in the Herald, if you're being written about on CBC, CTV, whatever that may be, the Metro, California, whatever it may be, take your content and allow it to be distributed on your Facebook page. Distribute that content directly on there, because what happens is you're going to reach people who may not have seen it before. And the people who have already liked you, the people who have already said, I really like this brand, they're going to share it because they want to show support of you. That goes back to one of those earlier points I mentioned. People like brands on Facebook so they can show their support. So if you have that content, people will press share just to show support, and it'll drive an increase in traffic to your content. When you're adding content, one of the things that a lot of people make the mistake of doing is they paste their link when they're making their update, and then they don't delete it. So what Facebook does now is it automatically creates this thing called a link box, and a link box grabs an image from your actual post, a title from your post, and the first paragraph, essentially. What you want to do, once you paste that link, this link box will automatically show up. You want to delete that link from the actual status update and then right on top of it. So this post, you paste it in, it shows up with this link box. Then you're going to write where that link is. You're going to delete that actual link and you're going to say, check out our latest blog post on data-backed Twitter strategies. Then you press post and then it goes out there to your audience. That's what you want to do. You also want to plan for key dates. So you don't want to just necessarily automatically have to think of content every single day. The first day of spring is coming up. So what you need to be thinking about from a Facebook perspective is, what can we do that will celebrate spring, that'll get people engaged and interested in the fact that spring is coming. Maybe you create something funny, because I hear that Nova Scotia is going to get hit with another snowstorm this weekend. So maybe you create something that says storms in Nova Scotia and show somebody covered in snow, spring in Nova Scotia, and show somebody covered in snow. Or maybe you say, make a reference to the fact that Easter's coming. So if you run a bed and breakfast, you put out some bunny ears in the snow, stick them in the snow right in front of your place, take a picture of that and upload it and say, I hope the Easter bunny doesn't get stuck in the snow, whatever that may be. I'm sure you guys can be a little bit more creative than I am with it, but you can plan for those key dates. And this isn't limited to only things like the holidays and things like spring and winter. You can also start thinking about things that are going to happen in pop culture. So if you know that say Oprah is going to release a new movie, or if you know that that a new music video is coming out from Pharrell, whatever that may be, you know that you can plan for those things. If there's a famous couple that is expecting a baby, you can reference those things early on and create content that will be referencing them. That goes back to that reactive storytelling. One of the other opportunities that is really important, and that I think every tourism operator needs to tap into, is the fact that the Nova Scotia Facebook page has 181,000 likes. So 181,000 people are following Nova Scotia on Facebook. They like us, guys. They really, really like us. And it's not just because we're friendly. It's because we have some great properties. We have some great opportunities. We have some great restaurants. We have great cuisine. We have all of these great things. So you can leverage Nova Scotia Tourism's Facebook page by simply providing them with quality content. So if you have rich visuals, rich images, you can pass those images along and they'll be more likely to share your content. Of course, it's definitely important that you list your business itself on novascotia.com, so that way they have something they can reference back to, which can ultimately lead people down that funnel for a sale. But you want to give them your images that are rich, that are captivating, that are unique, because they're going to always have an opportunity, unless you're paying for a post, to reach more people than you can. So you want to tap into that. You want to send them their photos of your resorts, of your hotels, of your restaurants, whether it's a picture of your cuisine. I know an easy hack, you could even just upload it to your own Twitter account or to Instagram and use the hashtag Visit Nova Scotia, and they'll find that content and then they'll possibly republish it for you. One of the examples of where that took place is with the Celtic Lodge. The Celtic Lodge has this content where they essentially had a moose outside. Somebody snapped a photo, they put it up, and then it's being shared more than 831 times on Facebook. So again, that's a huge opportunity and a way for you to get your story in front of a lot of people. When I talked about reactive storytelling, Facebook is making it a little bit easier for us all when it comes down to it. Facebook recently launched this thing called trending. So if you're on Facebook and you look to your right-hand side, you'll see when things are trending, meaning these are some of the top topics globally. What you want to do is you want to take some of these topics and mention them in your status updates whenever possible. You also want to mention things that you know are happening, because what happens is Facebook will push this content that's mentioning the Golden Globes, out to people more often than it will content that has no relevance at all. So they look at these keywords, they say, okay, people are talking about the Golden Globes. This post that somebody created mentions the Golden Globes. We want to distribute this out to more people. One of the other hacks that you want to do when you're using Facebook is you want to ensure that the posts that you're putting out are very much relevant to the people you're putting out. This isn't something that you necessarily have to use on a regular basis, but it's a quick and easy hack. So you can put up a post that's specifically targeting people in certain relationship status. You can target people based off of their location, their language, their age. So for example, Chinese New Year happens, you can change the language of the post. You can put up a very customized post targeting people whose language is sent to Mandarin, and you can put that out and distribute it to those folks. So somebody who's English doesn't necessarily see it, but those who have their language set as Mandarin on Facebook or Chinese, they will see that content. So it's a huge opportunity. One quick and easy win that I've done in the past is I've targeted people from Montreal versus Toronto, and I've said, go Habs go on the Montreal side, go Leafs go on the Toronto side, and the engagement on both is through the roof, and they don't know that I'm doing it for both different teams. So that's the power of targeting. One of the simple things that you need to also know is when most people share a link on Facebook, they simply paste it in, they delete it, and then they share it as simple as this. So whatever the content is, they accept, and then they'll press post. What you should do is you should edit that text. You should edit the text that is there. You can actually click on the title, so that bold text, and you can actually change it. So this title, NS couple rolls up romance with Tim Hortons wedding. Boo, hippity hoo. No one's going to click that because it's not that interesting. But if I BuzzFeed it up a little bit, roll up the rim and tie the knot, couple weds at Timmy's, people are more likely to click that link. So what you're able to do is you can actually change any title that is written about you by simply clicking that text and then repurposing it for your brand and your business. Short posts win. Stats have shown that the shorter your post, the better chances that you'll get a significant amount of engagement. So you want to keep your posts small, under 140 characters, similar to a tweet. That's when the response rate really is at its maximum point. After that, when you start going beyond 140 characters, there is a significant drop off. The likes themselves start to kind of stay the same. But when you're in between the 141 and 230 characters, this study found that that was the lowest level of engagement. So shorter posts win. That's always my recommendation. You want to create posts that have a little bit of text. This one has a lot of text, as you can see. One of the recommendations that I would have is if you're going to create content with a lot of text, what you need to do is you need to break it out. So you need to use those breaks. You want to separate it similar to what they have here. So you can see that there's clear space between the different links. That's the type of post that you would want to put out if you're going to use a lot of characters in your actual post, because it makes it easier for somebody to navigate through it. A lot of people, when they're talking about Facebook, they still get all caught up. We talked about a lot already, and we're coming to an end here. But a lot of you are probably still thinking, okay, but is my audience using Facebook? When it comes down to it, guys, yes, your audience is using Facebook. Everyone's audience is primarily using Facebook in some way or form. The question is no longer, is your audience using Facebook? The question becomes, how do you get in front of them? How do you get your audience? How do you target your audience? The fastest growing demographic on Facebook isn't people between the ages of 18 and 26. The fastest growing demographic on Facebook is women between the ages of 35 and 55. That's my mom. She signed up for Facebook just a little while ago, and she liked every single photo that I had. And that's the world that we live in now. It's the people who are going on Facebook. They're signing up to see their kids. They're signing up to see their grandkids. That's what they're signing up for. So the fastest growing demographic is no longer the young kids. It's now people who are in middle aged. It's people who are between those age ranges that are engaging on a regular basis. So one of the things that people struggle with a lot, and I've been there myself, is when people unlike you. Why would somebody unlike you? Well, it's these 5 reasons. People unlike a page on Facebook because the company posts too often, because there's too much marketing, meaning that they're trying to sell. The content is boring or irrelevant. People may have only liked you for an offer, or they're not offering enough deals. And I'm going to wrap up with this because I think it's really important that we go through these items. When it comes to posting too often, when it comes to Facebook, you do not have to post more than 1 time a day. If you are posting 3 to 4 times a week, that's great. That's enough. Posting multiple times a day on Facebook isn't really necessary. You can post multiple times a day on things like Twitter, but not on Facebook. That can get annoying. Too much marketing. When you're only talking about your product, when you're not really adding value to someone's life, that is when you sell. You don't want to always be talking about promotions that you're offering. You don't always want to be talking about your own how great your staff are. You don't want to only talk about that stuff because nobody really wants to see that. What they want to see is value being added to their life. Content that is boring and irrelevant. If you follow that concept of the 3 E's, if you use that insight that I talked about earlier around people want to engage with content that is exhilarating, like a moose outside of your room, content that is inspirational, like one of those quotes from Starbucks, that's the type of content people want to engage in. Then you'll be able to ensure that this doesn't happen, that people aren't unliking you because your content's boring. People unlike brands when they only like them for an offer. So if you're giving out an Apple Watch, yeah, I'm going to probably unlike you if I don't win that Apple Watch. But if I liked you because I had an opportunity to win your product, or I had an opportunity to have a tour of your facility, I'm somebody who actually cares about your business. So I'm not going to unlike you because I actually had a genuine interest in something you were offering. And then finally, not enough deals. At least offer 1 deal a day. Sorry, I misquoted. Not a deal a day, 1 deal a year. If you can do that, then that would be great. That's something that would definitely engage people and they'd enjoy. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. We have a few minutes. I'll stick around. If you do have any questions, I'll go through them and we'll go from there. Looking forward to the next one. It's on the 25th, I believe. We'll be covering Twitter. But if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them a line in the questions section. I'd be happy to answer them. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, so there's a question from Wes Surratt asking, can I elaborate a little bit more on remarketing and how does this happen through Facebook? So there's a few different sites that actually allow for you to set it up, and a few of them. So one of them is called Perfect Audience, that allows you to do the remarketing. What happens with this is people get cookied, they visit your site, they leave, and then you're able to keep on targeting them afterwards. The studies have shown that remarketing is actually the number one type of ad to serve to people, period, end of story. So when it comes to online. So if you can do that, if you can get into remarketing, there's a lot of different platforms that are out there that allow you to do it. Perfect Audience is one of them. I think directly in Facebook, if you use this thing that's called pixel tracking, you'll be able to put a pixel on people's browser, and then you'll be able to target them as well. One other quick and easy tool that you could use is the custom audiences within Facebook. So let's say you have a newsletter list. You can upload that list from your newsletter, and it will retarget people based off of all of the emails that you have within it. That's another great approach that you could use. So yeah, there's a lot of different approaches. If you Google AdRoll is another one. It's a platform that I've used before. I believe they give you a credit for $100. I'm not 100% sure that you can use for your first buy, but again, it's another great channel that allows you to target people. So somebody asked, how can they migrate their Facebook page their Facebook profile to a page? So there's actually a URL for it that will make it easy for you to do the switch. The URL itself, just give me 1 second, I'll pull it up for you. It's what is it? Yeah, so if you go into Facebook and you just go to pages, you'll be able, facebook.com/pages, you'll be able to go in and actually make that switch for your page itself. So if you reach out to me via email, I can actually pull up the actual link and send that over to you. But yeah, it's fairly easy to do. You just plug it in and then you're good to go. Linda has a post. Is it true that your posts do not show up in people's Facebook feed unless you drop some advertising dollars now and again? And what is a good amount to spend on Facebook advertising for a small business? You can reach some people. You can't reach as many as you used to be able to with the current way that Facebook is set up. It is preferred that you spend on Facebook because it is no longer as easy as it used to be. But you can reach, I'd say, probably anywhere from 20 to 50% of your actual likes through every single post that you put up. So when it comes down to it, the key is really going to be ensuring that the content you develop and distribute is great, really high quality. And then from there, if you can spend a couple dollars a day on Facebook, then that would be an easier way to really connect with your audience. What is the easiest way for me to like other businesses from your business page? So when you're on Facebook itself, you actually do have the option to use Facebook as your business page. So I'm going to use Facebook for a second here. But let's say, for example, I wanted to use Facebook as my page. Once you're here, you can actually just go up here and then select use Facebook as a certain page. So I can select the page that I want to actually use it as just from going in this. And then once you've switched over your to someone else, you can actually start liking it. Donna has a question. Can you suggest a photo editing tool? So one of the ones that I've been using that is really good, it's actually great. It's from Google, so that can speak to why it's pretty awesome. It's called Snapseed, um, Snapseed. It allows you to pretty much create photos similar to what you would do in Photoshop. I'm not Don't quote me on that because I know there's designers out there that will uh, rip my head off for that. But yeah, if you can try Snapseed, I think you'll like it. And then, of course, if there's budget, something like Photoshop would always do the trick. Peter, the question around $2 a day all year, that would be probably great. If you can do that, then I'd say do it. One of the other options would be to kind of be very focused on what type of post you're promoting. So instead of doing $2 a day each year, you can say, okay, we're going to be spending about $60 a month based off of that budget. Let's take that $60 and focus on two specific types of posts. So if you have one post that's promoting a promotion, you have another post that's promoting just a cool image that you've uploaded. Boosting those two posts separately would be a great way to really test whether or not you're getting a return on your dollar. Elaine, how do you upload a video to Facebook? It's very similar to how you would upload a actual image to Facebook. So when you're here, you simply click photo, video, and then you're able to actually upload it right from here. So if you can see my screen, I'm hoping you guys can, you can just click upload photos. You select that, and then it'll open up the dialog where you have to go and find that image that you want to share, that photo you want to share. And then once you've done that, you just upload it and then you're done. Thoughts on paying someone like Unify Link to create and manage Facebook ads? I'm not very familiar with Unify Link. I don't know who they are, but I'm going to Google them. I think having an expert manage your social budget always works. I don't know who these guys are. Let's see. Internet marketing service from Portland. Yeah, there's a lot of suppliers out there that do this kind of stuff. I'd say it could be a good opportunity, but I'm not going to make a recommendation because I don't know them. There could be better ones locally. Not 100% sure. How did they target local from Wanda? So the way that you target local is very much when you go into Ads Manager, you're able to set up very specific parameters around who you want your ads to reach and who you want them to go to. So they would have selected Halifax, they might have selected Dartmouth, and then they would be very localized ads based off of that. For videos, upload direct to Facebook or use a YouTube link. Both have benefits. I mean, I think you can use Facebook for Facebook and then use YouTube for YouTube. There's not really a direct, I don't have any stats on which one's better right now, but I would say from my perspective, I would upload the video directly to Facebook if I had a significant following on Facebook. And then on YouTube, I would upload that and use that YouTube video to distribute through my blog, through Twitter, and through other channels. Because the biggest benefit of having a YouTube video is the embed functionality, meaning it can be placed in other websites on other forums. With a Facebook video, I don't believe that's actually possible just yet. Peter, how much time a day do we need to be spending doing all of this? It depends. I mean, it's similar to a bank, right? You go to a bank and you make an investment. And if you make a significant investment, you're going to get a significant return. If you make a little investment, you might get a little return. So at the end of the day, it comes down to what you want to get out of it. If you are okay with business as per usual, and you want to just keep trucking along with the hope of things not dwindling off, then you can do that. But if you want to invest in social media and understand that this is where your audience is, then you would invest as much time as you can. So how much time a day? As much as you can, I think, is the only question, the only answer that I would have, because it can change your business for the better. More technical questions. I've had a little confusion between the differences in budgeting for Facebook ads for click impressions. How long an impression needed on average, or budgeting by impression the best option? I've heard it is. I wouldn't do my ads based off of impression because what happens is an impression can be anything. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if I'm on Facebook right now, and I'm here, and I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, and I see this Bill Gates ad, blah, blah, blah. I see all of these different things on my newsfeed. So I kept scrolling past something, this one here from Navdi. So usually I'm not going to click on this, I'm not going to interact with it, but I just kept scrolling by. That's considered an impression. Is that what you really want? Probably not. You want engagement. So you want people to actually click on this and comment. You want people to press like. You want people to press share. So instead of paying by the impression, I would pay by click or pay by engagement. That's always my recommendation. How do you keep the URL out of your post, as you mentioned? So I'll show you that. So the way that works is, let's say, for example, I want to share this link on my Facebook page. I go up to the top where it says, what's on your mind? This would be the status update. I paste it in there. This shows up. This is the link box. I then delete that link and I say, great article. From there, I just press publish and the link stays with the post. So when I press that post, it goes out to my followers. They all see it, and it's there for good. Pros and cons of pushing Facebook posts through Twitter. There's not a lot of pros. The cons is that the experience is broken. So somebody who's using Twitter is looking for an experience that's Twitter specific. They're not looking for an experience that's on Facebook. So if I'm on Twitter and I click a link and it's taking me to Facebook, that's a broken experience. If I'm on Twitter and I click on for example, in a photo that you're trying to share, if you're trying to distribute photos, just upload them directly to Twitter and I'll consume them there. I don't want to have to go to Facebook to look for them because I'm looking for an experience on Twitter. So I'd like to say keep them separate at all costs. I think that's all the questions. So thanks, everyone. If I missed a question, feel free to send me an email. I know a couple of you did write me an email, and I appreciate that. I will try to get back to you over the next couple of days. There's been quite a few coming in after these webinars. I know Tiffany has a few things to say before we wrap up, but this is my last time on the mic, so I'll just say thanks again for attending. Looking forward to the next one.
Information. Facebook is obviously not going anywhere, and as tourism operators, the challenge is to figure out how to strategically leverage the incredible reach it offers. You suggested sorry about that. The challenge of managing the content development is one of many small businesses struggle with. The tools you suggested to help manage the aspect of social media will be really helpful for many businesses. Thank you for everyone for participating today. The webinar series has been very popular with over 60 individuals signing up for today's session alone, and we appreciate the enthusiasm industry has shown for this type of learning. Each of you will be receiving a link in an online evaluation in the next few hours, and we ask that you take the time to provide feedback in order to help us ensure a quality training experience is being delivered. The evaluation will also provide an opportunity to sign up for your one-on-one mentoring session. If you haven't done so yet, check out TIANS on Facebook and give us a like. It's a great way to stay connected with industry and events as well as news. As Ross mentioned, we should all find and like the Nova Scotia page as well to help build our own content and ensure we create a strong brand link for our Facebook followers. In closing, thanks to our partner, the Nova Scotia Technology Project with the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency, as well as webinar facilitator Ross Simmonds. Last but not least, don't forget to register for the next webinar Wednesday,